All right, so it is time for our bold predictions segment. We have questions follow, so this is gonna be kind of a rapid fire thing. But I did get people around the sports media scene a little bit, so I wanted to prelude that a little bit. And so, Chris, in terms of these over under numbers, can you explain to our listening audience or watching audience how you came up with some of these numbers? Because I know there was a couple people who were wondering, uh, you were low,
Um,
like, low man on totem pole on certain numbers. Yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, mostly I just went by like the Zips and Steamer projections and tried to come up with something that sounded right to me. Um, so yeah, I mean, it starts with Riley Green's over under games with 125.5. You put the 0.5 on everything, right? So you have to, if he has, so 125 doesn't count. Um, but yeah, I was trying to come up with things that were, I don't know. I was throwing them out there at first to try to get some suggestions if these seem right. Because we did it last year, and every single person picked Riley Green to hit more than 14 home runs. We had like 20 different people do it, and of course he didn't because he got hurt. We had a couple like that where every single person picked one. So I was hoping to get ones that, some categories this year that were a little tougher. But as it works out, I think we already have a couple that are basically 100%. So I don't know. It's just, yeah, it was just I didn't pull them completely out of my butt. They're based on some projections out there.
All right. Well, let's introduce some of the numbers here. So I did pull the first one comes from friend of the show and now former ex Barstool employee Chris Castanelli, who was signed kind enough to give us his. And this is his over under for the year. He has Riley Green over 125 games. Baez under 230 batting average. And this is how his shape out. So I'll be posting more of these on our Twitter. But so yeah, this is Chris Castanelli's over and under for the year.
He believes in Alex Lang, huh?
Yeah, he's a believer in Alex Lang. That is correct. All right, Cameron, who is not here today, our producer of the show. Here's his. And he's a believer in Riley Green, over 125 games.
So, also, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we want to read them for the just the podcast listeners.
Yeah, go ahead.
We don't have to read every, but yeah. So you mentioned the Green games, 125, Baez batting average, 230, torque, weighted runs created plus, 116.5. He was 107 last year, but was more like 125 in the second half. So I kind of split the difference there. Parker Meadows, triples, 6.5. We kind of discussed this earlier, and somebody actually asked a question. Who was it that asked a question of us? Ryan Krause said over under 10 triples for Meadows. And so I thought 6.5 was kind of high. Your triples are so hard to predict. But then you got Kerry Carpenter RBI 69.5. I think Steamer or Zips had him at 69. So I was like, all right. Colt Keith 17.5 home runs. I think a lot of people are going under on that one, but not Cameron. He's got over. And then Mark Canha 49.5 walks. I couldn't come up with a good one for Canha. I was like, yeah, well, he's an on-base guy, right? Let's do some walks. And then Pick specifically wanted to add Riley Green's ground ball rate, which was like 57% 2 years ago and was more like 49% last year. So I went down a little bit under that, 47.5. I think that the league average is about 44%. So those are the offensive over-unders there. And then there's pitching ones too. I don't know if we want to mention those, but
yeah,
you got another slide you want to put up.
Yeah, I'll put another slide up on there. And this is one from Sean Belizean, Detroit sports media legend Sean Belizean, who is a friend of the show. And he is also, by the way, he has his own podcast channel. And if you have not subscribed to it, I want to plug it real quick because Sean is good people. And I also screwed up on the graphic here. He said that he had Baez under and torque over. So that's my fault. But
is he doing shows with Shep?
Yeah, him and Matt Shepard are doing a show on YouTube, so you can find it. I'm trying to plug it right away, real quick here. But
of course, former Tigers announcer Matt Shepard.
Yeah, former Tiger
Detroit
announcer.
Media personality.
Yeah, Shepard Shower. By the way, Matt Shepard was really good on 11. He was one of my favorite listens when he was on 11:30 The Fan, and fantastic. Yeah, he was a fantastic show. But him and it's called the Unsyndicated. That's the YouTube channel you can check out, subscribe, and check out Sean Belizean over there with Matt Shepard. Good stuff over there. But I do like his most games at third base. By the way, that was another one. Ibanez comes up.
That was my tiebreaker. So we just go through the pitching ones real quick. We have Kenta Maeda at over under 8.5 wins. Tarek Skubal over 150.5 strikeouts. Jack Flaherty over under 21.5 games start. That's a tough one because we kind of did the same thing with Lorenzen last year, and he ended up having more starts, but they weren't with the Tigers. That's where this counts. So if the Tigers end up trading Flaherty for any reason, then that might not hit. Casey Mize ERA at 4.15. I was struggling to find the right number to put there for him. That one sounded okay to me. I thought it would be like some people would go, because we did, I think, Turnbull last year at like 3.75, and oof, that was a toughie. And then Matt Manning's fastball velocity, I don't know. I couldn't come up with something different. So I just 93.9. It was 93.4 last year, and it was 94.4 in the spring. So split the difference. And then Alex Lang saves 20.5 last year. We had 18.5, and he hit the over on that. So I bumped it up a little bit. And then the final two are the prospect debuts this year, 5.5. I'm counting Colt Keith in that because he hasn't debuted yet, right? So that's one. Are there going to be 5 more prospects to make their debut this year? That's I don't know. And then, the tiebreaker is which player plays the most games at third base for the Tigers this year.
All right. I like that. So, real quick, we'll speed through some of these, then we'll go into our own. Adam Baydoun, who has been shadow banned, but Adam is a good guy. I work with at Woodward Sports. Fantastic guy. And his most games played at third base, Cut Baez. I started cracking up because he sent me that. But the number, I liked his walk number for Canada at it was over, but I just thought it was funny when you said most games at third, Cut Baez. Scott Bentley, another friend of the show, he's Locked On Tigers host, also Locked On Red Wings host. He seemed a little optimistic on Riley Green, under on Maeda, which kind of surprised me a little bit.
Wins are tough.
Wins are tough, and he went over on Flaherty's starts in Detroit.
Under on Torque, WRC.
Yeah, I that surprised me a little bit too. Also, Matt Broder from Woodward Sports, he chimed in a little bit too as well. He gave us a couple. He's very optimistic about the pitching staff. You can tell here. Urshela is for third base, and another guy we haven't talked about in a long time, Jordan Hall, who was the host of the Podcastianos, is back with the new name of a podcast called Eat 'em Up, the Detroit Tigers podcast, in honor of the great Eat 'em Up guy who so sadly, tragically passed away a few years ago. He's back with his co-host Alex, and I'll have his totals here in a second. He also too was he had my favorite over of all, Tarek Skubal, way over 150 strikeouts. So I like that one a lot. And then Alex, who is his co-host, also saying he was very optimistic or very positive about the pitching staff, and was over on Torque. And lastly, Brandon, and we have we'll give our own here in a second, but Brandon Day of Bless You Boys, who is, and I spelled Chief wrong. I just realized it. Wow. I just pulled a Snickers moment. I just realized I spelled Chiefs wrong. Oh, man. Oh, somebody out in somewhere on the East Coast, somebody's laughing at me right now. Many people are laughing at me right now. The grammar police. Yeah, so this is Brandon's, and he is going to be our third mic, helping us out on the Minor League podcast starting next week. So I'm looking forward to having Brandon on. Pretty stoked about that. So, all right, gentlemen, that is we have some more. We have a couple of people on Twitter. I'll be putting those out there as the week goes on. Chris, what is your over-under looking at?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't do one yet.
Oops.
And it got to the point where I was taking down so many other people's that I didn't like. I didn't know if I could do it honestly without looking at it and seeing where I might be able to sneak points. So I don't know if I will do one.
How about this then? We'll have you then let's do bull predictions then instead.
All right. Well,
yeah. Let's go win loss total here, Chris.
Yeah, nothing terribly bold there. I'll go 84 wins for the Tigers. 84 in honor of the 40th anniversary of 1984.
Oh, there you go. Symmetry.
It's not terribly bold, is it? But you know, I don't know. I don't ever have the. Here's a bold prediction: Tarek Skubal throws 100 miles an hour on opening day. It'll be like 99.6, but it'll show as 100 on the radar gun.
I like it.
All right. My bold prediction. All right, I'm gonna give you guys my bold prediction here. Crack my knuckles a little bit. I'll give you 5 bold predictions. Number 1, the Tigers will have at least the Tigers are going to have at least 6 prospects debut this year.
All right.
Okay? 6.
Break them down. Who are they?
Break them down. All right. So Wilmer Flores will be 1. Chase Young will be 1. And I will give Brandon Day this. Somebody else, I actually was Connor who said this as his over under. Well, starts at third base. Young, taking the year at most. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. So props to Connor on that. So yeah, there's Young. There's another one. Montero will make his debut. We have Dylan Dingler will make his debut because he's on the 40
Colt Keith, right? So that's
Colt Keith. That's 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 6th one, the one that really is going to Eddie Leonard will be that guy.
And that's not. There are other people who could do it, including Winslow Perez, Keider Montero. I don't think you mentioned him, did you?
Yeah, Montero. No, I mentioned Montero.
Oh, did you Montero? Okay, sorry.
Malloy.
Malloy, Big B,
Madden,
Herder, Madden, Job. Yeah. It's possible.
All right, Uper.
Well, on that specific over/under, I went over as well, and I think I put down 7. But now that you list all those names, it wouldn't shock me if it was 8. There's a lot of guys who are going to be hopefully playing well enough to merit a turn up here, especially as injuries hit, which they always do. I think there's going to be plenty of rookies debut. I got the Tigers at 87 wins this year. I am usually on the lower end of the spectrum on this show when we predict wins. But I just have a sense that at least 1 or 2 of the rookies in the lineup are going to produce and be stalwarts. And I think they both will. I think Keith and Meadows can hold their own. I've been very pleased to watch Meadows so consistent this spring. And I know spring stats don't mean anything. I get that. But as I mentioned to Cameron last week, he's just been so steady. He hasn't had any 0 for 15s or anything silly like that he's had to fight through. So I really think that the rookies are going to be a big part of what they do. And I think they have the pitching depth to sustain themselves through the season. The Twins they have so much injury risk up and down that roster. So many guys who've been hurt, and they're hoping that they can piece together a year where everybody's healthy. We'll see. I mean, and the Tigers handled them last year, and done that. Not that those wins count any longer, but fact is they did. So I think they can win the division. I think they win 87 games. I'm most into watching. I want to see what Mize is this year, and then Parker Meadows and Colt Keith. That's where my intention is going to be.
Yeah, I'm the amount of talent coming out there. And Tyler brought up the Twins impression, and you're right, Uper. I don't think the Twins are relying on way too much luck, and I don't think they have enough depth to get there. And so, as far as win totals here, as far as win totals goes for the Tigers, I will get to that in a second. But I did want to get some of the bold predictions that were in here from Tyler, and I like this one. The Tigers have 3 All-Stars, Skubal, Flaherty, and Torkelson or Green. Both Keith and Meadows finished top 5 in Rookie of the Year, and Toledo wins the International League Championship. I really think Toledo's roster is stacked to do that. I don't think it's as deep as Norfolk. Norfolk's roster last year was ridiculous. Baltimore's roster was one of the best rosters we've ever seen assembled in the last decade down there.
And they've got Baltimore. They didn't call up Holiday, Stowers, and Kerstad. I think they're all back into play. Not to mention Connor Norby, and so it'll be tough. It's always hard. Sam Dykstra told us the same thing when we talked to him on the minor league podcast that it's a fool's errand to predict you're winning a minor league championship. But we've joked about it, and other people have said as much, that Mud Hens roster this year looks as good as the 2019 Tigers, if not better. So that's it's a good team.
Well, and there's actually a couple guys at Erie that are pretty good too, right? Who probably will get
Absolutely.
moved up to Toledo. So as Toledo loses guys, there's actually not the dregs coming behind them out of Erie too. So
yeah. I mean, I worry about the West Michigan, but that's another story for them. We'll talk about that in the minor league podcast. But Richard said his prediction. He said, "Hey Raj, my prediction: 2024 will be like the 1983 Tigers, where the team was maturing, and the 1984 Tigers were all together." I think that's a good one, Richard, because this is a team that's really suffering some of the growing pains of it all. And I really think if Parker Meadows can hit like he does in the spring, that to me, I mean, if anything, I know we're big Cole Keefe stands here, whatever, but Parker Meadows, I mean, he has had. I just try not to get into the hype and the weeds about spring training, but he's looked damn good. I mean, when the Tigers offense was nobody was hitting, he was hitting. I mean, it wasn't against like AA guys either. I mean, he was the only one that hit off Zach Wheeling the other day when Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, it was the bunt. It was the bunt single. Yeah,
I mean, but it was a really. But still,
that's in his tool bag. That bunt singles, line drives, triples, home runs. He really is a terrifically well-rounded player. If he makes, enough contact, and we talked about it before, he's not a huge swing and miss guy. Swings and misses less than Torque and Carp and Green. He just doesn't swing as much. So yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting because we talked about it before, and we just thought he was underrated in general on a national level because people weren't taking into account how high his floor is because of the defense and also how high his ceiling is because of all the tools. So yeah, I don't know. I think one thing that he's going to have in his favor, and talking about how steady he is, he got the taste of the big leagues last year. He's not going to be intimidated. And he really is a patient hitter. He's not a Justin Henry Malloy walking 18%, but he's probably going to post somewhere 9, 10, 11, 12% walk rate. He's going to work at bats. He's a really good player, and I think he's in for a good season.
That's right here. You know what? This is definitely Sean deserves this drop.
Hey, good stuff. I think people are getting really cranked.
His bold prediction. Torque is going to be Silver Slugger. Meadows makes a good Rookie of the Year run, and Sawyer Gibson Long will be top 3 of the rotation by July 30th. We're playing again.
Hey, good stuff. I think people are getting really cranked.
Yeah,
that is a bold one.
Yeah,
that dude.
Yeah. No,
real
but
quick, I'm sorry. The 83 Tigers, were they 92 and 70 or 90 and 72? Do we remember?
I don't remember off the top of my head. Is that the team that lost to the Brewers down the stretch? No, that's 80. I'm sorry, that's 82. That's 82. I'm sorry.
83. They were just a good baseball team.
But Baltimore was
really
like, but Baltimore was damn good. Yeah,
yeah.
Baltimore was really, really good. That was the year. Yeah, the Orioles won the World Series in 83.
Yes.
And that was, they had
83. They were 92 and 70.
There you go.
Yeah.
Finished 6 games out.
6 keeps. Hosed.
It was a quality baseball team, though. You could see it. You could feel it coming the next year. You just knew it. I mean,
that's it.
I
picked 84. You picked 87. So, Roger, you're going to have to pick Tigers for 2006 wins or
all right. You said wait. You said 82.
87.
You said 87. I said 84.
All right.
Honor the 96 Tigers.
There you go.
If they're going to be the 96 Tigers, if they're the 96 Tigers, we're in trouble. We're really in trouble. That's one of the worst teams I've ever watched in my life. Oh my God. Hey, everybody. Scott Sanders here. I can't pitch, but that's cool. Scott Sanders. Everybody, can tell that.
They gave up 1,103 runs that year.
Fastball, the Terminator.
All right. Sorry. All right. I'm just trying to. Okay. I'm stalling for time here. I'm going to go with the Tigers are going to win. You know what? Screw it. Might as well go big, go home with this.
Oh.
All right. Tigers. I was going to be the low man on totem pole because I still think they have they need offense. But if everything goes right and they stay healthy, screw it. Tigers win 90 games.
90 games.
There you go.
90.
I think people are getting really cranked.
I think you put some of that money down in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise,
it's
I'm
a
just,
big-
it's just really, is it, yeah.
Write it down. 90.
Okay, you know what? Tigers will win 90 games. All right, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm probably gonna be way off. I don't care.
If they win 90 games, they, that's a probable playoff team, which would be
Yeah.
a lot of fun. I'll say that.